Hi. So we're continuing our learning of Mishnah Brachot. Mishnah Shabbos. I should change that. We're in Shabbos now. Brachot is what we did before. Mishnah Shabbos. And we're continuing with Mishnah 4. And we'll have to explain what this is about in a second after reading a little bit. Ve'elu mina halachot she'amru va'aliyat Chananya ben Chizkiah ben Gurion she'alu levakro. And these are the halachot that they stated in the upper chamber of Hananiah ben Chizkiah ben Gurion when they went up to visit him. So what is going on here? What is the story? This has to do with this rabbi, Hananiah ben Chizkiah, who was trying to reconcile some seeming contradictions in the book of Ezekiel with the rest of the Torah. They thought there was a lot of problems, so he isolated himself in this upper chamber of this, presumably his home or some other place, and just worked on this nonstop. And the rabbis, these other rabbis, went to visit him and to debate with him and to see what he was up to in his project of finding this reconciliation between the text. Nimnu v'rabu veit Shammai al Beit Hillel u'shmona asar dvarim gazru bo vayom. So they were counted. There was voting, and Beit Shammai outnumbered Beit Hillel, and on that day they decreed 18 measures. So this is something, the 18 measures that this is talking about will be discussed at a later time. But essentially, a lot of them have to do with different offerings or kohanim, things of that matter, of ritual purity and impurity, and the priest. But that's not what our next Mishnah is going to be discussing. But essentially, Beit Shammai, because of their greater numbers at this meeting, are able to dictate what rulings are made on those 18 matters. Okay, now we're going to go on. We're talking about more, some other disagreements between Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel, specifically on matters of something that's set up on Shabbat. You set up some kind of mechanism or some kind of thing that is a malacha kind of labor before Shabbat, and then it continues into Shabbat. What is the ruling on that? And what's going to be at the center of this debate between Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel is the idea of shvitat kelim, of the same way that people need to rest and our servants and our animals need to rest. So too, there's an idea of what about actual vessels, equipment that are doing malacha labors? Does that equipment need to rest? And Beit Shammai saying yes, Beit Hillel saying no. That will be at the center of all of these debates. I think the next 7 Mishnayot all deal with this question of something that's set up before Shabbat and then continues into Shabbat. So let's look at the first 2. 5. Beit Shammai omrim, ein shorin dayo v'samanim v'charshinin, ela chedei she'ishoru mib'od yom. Ubeit Hillel matirin. Beit Shammai say, we may not soak ink, dyes, or vetch unless there is sufficient time for them to be completely soaked while it is yet day, meaning while it is still Erev Shabbat, it's still Friday afternoon. Nightfall, it's not nightfall yet. Beit Hillel would permit it regardless, so permit this. So Beit Shammai is saying that it has to be that it's mostly done, that the essential part of the malacha that's happened sufficiently in order to permit this for it to continue into Shabbat. And Beit Hillel says it's fine, because there's no idea for Beit Hillel of shvitat kelim, as long as it's passive, there's no human role in making it happen on Shabbat. If it started before Shabbat and it can just continues into Shabbat on its own, Beit Hillel says it's fine. Beit Shammai omrim, ein notnin unin shel pishtan letoch hatanor ela kedei sheyahavilu mib'od yom. Beit Shammai say we may not place bundles of flax into the oven unless there's sufficient time for them to become heated while it is yet day. So that's the same kind of thing. Velo et hatzemer layora ela kedei shiklot ha'ayin. Uveit Hillel matirin. So Uveit Hillel matirin. Okay. Nor may we place wool into the vat unless there is sufficient time for it to absorb the color. And Beit Hillel permit these acts. So these acts are dealing with malachot that are going to continue into Shabbat, but passively. We're dealing with issues of kneading, of dyeing, and then the next one we're going to see is about trapping of animals. Beit Shammai omrim, ein porsin mitsudot chaya ve'ofot v'dagim ela kadei sheitzodu mib'od yom. Ubeit Hillel matirin. Beit Shammai say we may not spread snares for beasts, birds, or fish, the trap for the animals, unless there's sufficient time to be captured while it is yet day, but Beit Hillel permit this. So this is an interesting question because this is not like dyeing where it's like a gradual process. A trap has does one action and then the animal is trapped and then that's done. So if that happened on Shabbat, it wasn't like something gradually happened. How would that work with the Beit Shammai approach? It would have to be that it was a trap that maybe there was sufficient time before Shabbat, that it could have gone off, that it only works once, that once it traps an animal, it has nothing else to do, and then therefore it's unlikely that it's going to be doing that on Shabbat. But Beit Hillel says as long as you set it up before Shabbat and now it's passive, we don't have to rest our vessels, our tools. They could do malacha if it happens passively and if it was set up sufficiently before Shabbat, sufficiently before. So there's this disagreement, and we'll continue with the coming Mishnayot will also deal with this problem of something that's set up before Shabbat, continues into Shabbat, and differences between Beit Shammai and Beit Hillel on those matters. Okay, thank you so much for joining. Bye.